How is Sober Paddy here? It has been, I don't know how long actually since my last interview with somebody. It's been far too long, and I'm delighted to say that I had the pleasure last Friday night to go and see this man say a few words at the Warriors of the Light event that took place in Dublin City Centre. He's a Dublin man, he's a poet, he's a man of my own heart. His name is Stephen James Smith, and he's such a great character because he's got this ability to pick out what's going on in the world and say it in a beautiful way. So thanks very much for agreeing to meet me, man.
Thanks, Sean. Do
It's true when you do, you know.
Just exes now for the interview.
We'll leave it there. Thanks very much. No, I was blown away because you had this poem, and I'd say some people who watch this might have heard it before. I'll put links to it. The poem you have about Dublin, man, it's an amazing piece of work.
Thank you.
What was the buzz behind writing that, and what got you to get into such a great place to say it on?
Like, I love Dublin, and you know, it's my home, so I suppose there was something in me to write about my city and my home for a long time. But I was somewhat worried. There's loads of other great Dublin poems out there, and I was aware of them. So to enter something that you've written into that pantheon was nearly caused me to be almost fearful.
Yeah.
But there's a certain irony here to be in the Sober Paddy. I was out at the Body and Soul Festival, and I was essentially locked in the field, and I was just writing poems at this Arbutus Yarns tent. Miles O'Reilly has his tent down there, and a girl who works for Dublin City Council for their European Capital Culture campaign saw me doing the poems and approached me and goes, would you like to do something for the campaign? And so it kind of stemmed from there. So drunk in the field to be yapping to you know, sober now, like it's kind of a bit of a curve.
It's the magic of poetry, yeah. And because you did mention on Friday night, that's where my ears really pricked up when you did mention at one stage that you'd gotten sober, you'd taken up sobriety. Why did you do that? You know, because just temper it with a bit of my experience. Like, I used to always think alcohol, drugs and writing all went together, and without them, you know, I couldn't create things. I've since proved that wrong myself. Was there anything similar for you? Or
I've done that as well.
Yeah.
You know, what happened was I was a bit down last year, and I had a breakup, and I'd finished college, which was a good thing. But as a result of that, like, my life was changed, and I moved where I was living. So there's all these changes taking place, and I probably wanted a bit more control of my life. And last October and Halloween, I decided I'd give up drinking for a month, and I'd give up meat for a month, and I did, and I didn't miss it, and I felt healthier, and I felt better myself, and just kept it going then. And even New Year's, I thought New Year's maybe I'll kind of go and have a bit of a session or something. I didn't feel the desire to do that. Now, I'm not saying I'm teeth, like I've been drunk twice.
yeah.
Since then, so I don't want to come on this and pretend to be something that I'm not, but those two occasions they weren't planned, you know, and my tolerance is probably quite low now, but I've just been enjoying actually going out and not drinking, and like we were yapping earlier on, I'm happy to dance sober.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy to go out and to do things sober, and I don't need to be in the bar environment the whole time. I mean, through gigging and stuff, there's drinking, drugs, and you name it is there for me if I wanted to, but it's not too important.
Do you think, you know, you've obviously your poetry career, for want of a better word, is going in an upward curve, and you're probably getting more confidence from that kind of stuff. Does that help you in your sober sort of ways? You know what I mean? Because you're getting more energy or more of a buzz from that. Does that make a difference, or is it something different for you?
Well, there's no denying that there is a buzz from performance, but I think you need to be careful of that as well. That doesn't become another form of addiction. Like I write just to create and to be proud of what I write, and that's the motivation, and it's not through live performance. That's just a byproduct, and it's something that I can enjoy, but I don't want to feel needy towards it, you know. So yeah, it's something I'm conscious of, but yeah, I don't want it to replace drinking. And also, like, yeah, while things might be going okay now, I'd also be kind of wary of the careerist poet or the term professional poet. I think, you know, the focus should be on what you're creating more than anything. and not worrying about the other things that come along with it. Because you'll probably hit a slump again at some point. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it now, but I think the important thing is just to stay grounded.
It's very unique. It's a very unique thing that you're doing. I mean, there's not a lot of people who are poets and who are willing to give up fucking the real world or whatever you want to call it in order to follow that craft. You know, it's a very difficult path you're going. Does that kind of worry you at all, or do you just kind of? Is this just something you have to do?
I don't know if it's totally unique. I'd be hesitant to say I'm unique. You know, I obviously have my own voice and whatnot, but there's plenty of other poets that are my age that are doing this as well, and they would, you know, my peers that I admire and respect and would be a massive inspiration to me. I've done the jobs, John. Do you know what I mean? I've worked in offices like that across the road, or I've been a recruitment consultant, I've been a barman, I've been a salesman, you name it, I've done it. I've been unemployed, and through that experience, I've realised that I have to give this a go. This is what makes me happy, and I'm lucky to have found this, for want of a better term, nearly like a calling. Like, I get to go into schools, as you were saying earlier on, you get to go into schools and chat to kiddos. I love doing that, like, because I didn't particularly like poetry when I was in school. But if you throw me in there with a bunch of young fellas, I can relate to them, and hopefully it's not doing stuff in the curriculum, but just introducing things that I like. And I'm lucky that I get to do that, and I get to see a bit of the world going on. And so, you know, I'm 34 now. It's taken me a long time to find out where I'm kind of meant to be going. Still not exactly certain, but you know.
That's weird. Like, how did you go? Like, from, you said not, you didn't really enjoy poetry and all that in school. How have you sort of gone beyond that? I don't even, looking back, man, I would always consider myself a poet, but I didn't really enjoy learning other people's poems in school. How was that for you? Like, did you just sort of forget about what happened in school and start to do your own thing?
I was lucky to have a good English teacher, Mr. Blackmore. He used to kind of embody the stories and the poems, and I enjoyed that. But I only found out a few years ago I'm dyslexic, and I think that's something that might have that certainly had an influence on me when it came to reading. And I didn't have as much confidence as other people, and I think that's another reason why poetry has actually fallen on my lap, as it were, because I can read a poem and I sit and enjoy it. But in answer to your question, I started to play guitar, and I started to write a few songs, and kind of fell into it that way. But I'd be sitting at home and I'd be listening to lyrics. So I'd be listening to Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen and Smashing Pumpkins and Radiohead and Jimi Hendrix and all these different people playing a bit of guitar. And that was my way into poetry, was through music, as opposed to what was done in the curriculum. Now, since then, I've kind of gone back and I have my copy of Soundings at home now that I will engage with, you know, and so I wouldn't be as dismissive, but that just comes with a bit of maturity. So yeah, poetry sort of came to me, I suppose, through song, and then through a need to express myself, through probably a frustration that I had, and so just wrote songs, and then fell into writing poems, you know.
That's something you think, I mean, obviously you're going to schools and that, like the way poetry's taught, you know what I mean? It's a lot of the old greats and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of it is archaic style of poetry, you know. It's an incredible form, and you know, some of the older stuff is amazing, but they don't have as much exposure to modern day musicians who are the poets sort of today. Do you think that's something that could change? Do you think that's changing with people like yourself going in, or how does that work?
Well, like, it's difficult for the teachers because they're given a curriculum, and the reality is a lot of those poets are pretty good probably, but it's just difficult maybe as with a 15-year-old to connect with that, but potentially, unless the teacher's particularly passionate. So I suppose if I go into a school, I'm lucky, as I say, that I can just go in and show them things that I like, that inspire me, and hopefully that becomes infectious. Like, a lot of the time I'll go into a school and then kids will email me their own poems afterwards, we get them writing. So we kind of do this thing where they go in, they think poetry's shit, which is fair enough, that's a valid opinion. Get them thinking it's less shit, they actually start to enjoy it, just from showing the stuff that I'm giving them, and then I get them writing, so they've kind of come from thinking it's crap to actually writing and creating it themselves, and that's the goal of the day. But yeah, I suppose when I was there, I wasn't mad on them either. So just the answer is to get maybe people like me into the schools that have that passion, and hopefully then they can see it in a different way. Because you've done like all music.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Sure. You wouldn't be blaring Daniel O'Donnell out of your car, or maybe you do. I don't know. Like whatever you're into is, we Daniel, But it doesn't mean you don't like all music. Yeah, so right, it's about trying to show kids a different way of looking at it.
And with the drinking then and that kind of stuff, you had a few things that happened, and you kind of changed your habits. Mm-hmm. Do you see yourself going back on the gargle, or you said you've had a couple of days drinking or whatever it is, but like you don't strike me as someone who had I had to give up because I was going to destroy my life. Mm-hmm. I think I can hear from you. You've sort of made decisions just to have a better life in a very sort of mature, controlled way of looking at it.
I feel healthier. I've lost like about 2 stone.
Wow.
Since then, and I'm going to do the Dublin Marathon next year for first fortnight of Mental Health Arts Festival, and I've become a bit of a sap now where I'm addicted to a NutriBullet. If I don't get a NutriBullet into me each day, I get wild and angry. But then, so if I look at doing the marathon, which will be literally a year on, funny enough, I like the symmetry in that, like I said, kind of goals are little things for me, and I was like, that's kind of cool that a year on will be from when I decided to give it up as well. So I'll do that, and I might have a point after that. I think I'll have earned it. So if I'm at a festival, I think it's important sometimes maybe to have a bit of balance, and maybe sometimes you need to splurge or something, but so I'm not going to beat myself up if I do, but I've no plan to do it, and I think the benefits that I feel in myself, like losing 2 stone, I know that's not just purely from giving up drink. Like I gave up meat, but decided to get a lot more exercise in. Like I got me kettlebells and cycling into town a lot more these days, and that's just when you start to see physical results on yourself as well. That makes you feel better in yourself.
It's all part
as
of a
well.
whole setup, isn't it? It's a system for you.
Yeah, it's a spiral. Yeah. So I've no plan. But if somebody on here, is watching, all of a sudden sees me locked in a field at another festival, don't be berating me. But it's not in the cards anyway.
Yeah. No, but that's what I always like. Staying completely sober is not for everybody. It is. I have to, I think, because otherwise everything falls apart. But if you can have a couple of drinks a year, a couple of drinks a week, or whatever it is, and doesn't really affect what's going on, well then that's okay. That's cool.
I think it probably came from that dark place that I was in.
Yeah.
And it certainly wasn't helping that.
Yeah.
And by removing the drink and by having a focus on my own well-being, my emotional well-being, my physical well-being, my life has gone a lot better. So I'm kind of.
What would you say to anyone who is struggling with dark stuff, or if they're drinking too much or anything like that? Would you have anything you'd recommend thinking about or doing?
I suppose there's all those cliche things, go and talk to somebody, which is obviously important. I did go and sought some professional help, but the 2 people that particularly helped me actually, which is I mentioned at the gig that you saw me at, was a fella called David White. He's got a book called Consolations, and his posts just kept on coming up onto Facebook. I'd liked his little thing, so if you're at home there, you can go and like him and read these posts, and they were just like little things. For example, you could have robustness or giving or joy or whatever, and you think you might understand what these words mean, and then you read his thoughts, and it always made me think about the world in a different way. So I bought his book Consolations, and I was just reading that and really enjoying it. And then another fella, Alan Watts. If you go online, I think a lot of the YouTube videos, they're kind of crap, to be honest with you, because you have some hippie who's put a load of synth music behind it and a load of mad visuals,
Cosmos.
You've got it, like, which is grand. But I think he doesn't need that, and his lectures are incredible. And I wouldn't even understand them all, but I'd be driving around the country going off to a gig and I have his lectures on, and he's got a sense of humour as well. So he won't be talking about very deep things or quite intellectual things, but he's got this way of making it accessible for people. So he got me thinking of the world in a different way, and so did David White. And then I suppose turning to creativity and poetry has helped me. But maybe somebody out there might find photography or singing, or could be exercising, whatever it is, could be the thing that they need. But for me, creating, and then those two people helped a lot.
Any last thing, have you written any poems about the gargle or anything like that? Or?
No, I haven't. Nothing explicitly. Maybe I will. I'm kind of working on a play at the moment.
Oh yeah.
That's that I'm aiming to have as a one-man show, and I'm aiming to have that out for next year. I have a book coming out in a couple of months, and I have a little EP that I'm working on with a musician as well. And then next year, that's something, and I've no doubt part of the drink will form part of that. But I've not written a poem on it yet.
And the website it's all your name, is it?
Yes, StephenJamesSmith.com. Yeah. You can find me there, or the usual unsociable media things, yeah, check them out.
Great stuff. Thanks very much, Dave, for coming out, whatever. Coming here.
Coming out?
Coming out, yeah,
okay, whatever. Like,
he did, he said it to me beforehand.
Hey, we voted yes now, didn't we? Whatever you're into.
No, thanks a lot, man. It's been great listening to what you have to say about that. So yeah, thanks very much, appreciate it. And put it there, brother.
Sound.
And thanks very much for listening. If you like it, share it. There's going to be links around for to get to his website and to find out more about what's going on. And thanks very much for watching. If you're in the pub, get up out of the bleeding pub, you shower the gougers, go on, get out.